You know what is interesting about the month of April? More Americans cancel subscriptions in April than any other month of the year. Not because they suddenly got disciplined, not because they read a self-help book, because that is when the annual renewals hit all at once, and for one brief moment they actually see the full number. Most months, they don't. And that gap between what people think they're spending and what they're actually committed to, that gap is what this video is about. Because here is the thing. Most people aren't broke because they spend too much on big things. Let me walk you through a picture that is going to feel familiar. You have a stable job, decent income, maybe 60, 80, 100,000 a year. You are not struggling. So you start making life a little more comfortable. Better phone, nicer place, more convenience, better food, better entertainment. You are not being reckless. And yet, somewhere along the way, you notice something. The money comes in, and the money goes out. You are not broke. You are not in crisis. But you are also not building anything. You haven't failed. Because it skips over a question that most people never actually sit down and answer, honestly. How much of your future income have you already spent? I want you to shift how you are thinking about this. You think you've been consuming, but what you've actually been doing is mortgaging your future. Here is a way to make this concrete. Every dollar of recurring debt you carry is a dollar that has already been assigned a destination before it even arrives in your account. It is money passing through. Think of yourself as a transit hub. Income comes in, and it is already routed somewhere else before you touch it. The question isn't how much is coming in. The question is who set up those routes, and did you actually agree to all of them? Let me give you a number that makes this real. Someone earning $80,000 a year. Not extravagant. Doesn't feel like they're overspending. Car payment, rent, a few subscriptions, occasional credit card use. After everything clears every month, $200 left. The problem isn't that they don't earn enough. The problem is that their future cash flow is already spoken for. Have you ever had that feeling? Mid-month paycheck already processed, where you look at your account and think, where did it go? I didn't even do anything. That is not a spending problem. That is a cash flow commitment problem. And those are two very different things. In the past, consumption had a natural ceiling. You spent what you had. Simple. But the moment credit became mainstream, everything changed. For the first time, you could consume without having the money. That was sold as freedom, but it was actually a turning point. A structural shift in who holds the leverage and who doesn't. Now, if the problem were just spending money you don't have yet, it would be manageable. But that is only the first layer. There are 3 locks in this system, and most people don't even know they're inside all of them. Let's go through them one at a time. Lock 1, the credit lock, credit cards, installment plans, buy now, pay later. None of these are inherently destructive. That is not the point. The point is what they do, structurally, to the options available to you. They convert future income into present consumption. Think about what that means in practice. If a portion of your income for the next 2 or 3 years is already allocated, already committed, before you even earn it, can you quit a job you hate? Can you take 3 months off? Can you walk away from something that isn't working? The credit lock doesn't just cost you interest. It costs you options. And the fewer options you have, the more you are forced to keep running, whether you want to or not. Now we go one layer deeper. Why do people buy the things they buy? A lot of the time, if we're honest, it is not because they need the thing. It is because of how the thing makes them feel. The sense that you are keeping up. The relief of treating yourself after a hard week, the quiet signal to yourself and maybe to others that things are going well. You are not buying a product. You are buying an identity. And here is where it gets uncomfortable. Most people believe they're making independent choices when they consume. They're not entirely. The advertising you see isn't designed to inform you. It is showing you a curated version that makes your life feel slightly less than. Every time you respond to that signal, every time the trigger works, you reinforce the system that created the trigger. You are not choosing freely. You are responding to a design, and the design is very, very good at what it does. This is the quietest one, and in some ways, the most sophisticated. Think about what you are subscribed to right now. Video streaming, music, cloud storage, software, a fitness app you open twice. Each one feels small, $10, $15, $20, but add them up. According to a 2023 survey by CFATR Research, The average American underestimates their monthly subscription spend by more than $100. They think they're spending around $80. The actual average is closer to $219. That is not a rounding error, that is a blind spot. And here's what makes this lock different from the first two. You stop noticing it the first month you subscribed. You made a decision. By month 4, it is invisible. It just happens. That is the design woe. Time purchases create natural friction. The moment it all comes together, now look at all three at once. The credit lock, the emotional lock, the subscription lock. Individually, none of them are catastrophic. But together, they create a situation where your future cash flow is fully allocated before you've made a single conscious decision about it. Your income arrives, and it is already gone. Not because you failed, not because you were irresponsible, but because you were operating inside a system specifically designed to capture your output before you could redirect it. And the most dangerous part isn't the mechanism. It is that from the inside, it feels exactly like normal life. All right, if you are in this, and most people are at least partially, what do you actually do? 4 tools, concrete, you can start today. A few years ago, I did a full audit of my discretionary spending for the previous 12 months. What I found was that I'd spent over $4,000 on things I genuinely couldn't account for, not big purchases, small ones, the kind that feel like nothing in the moment. That is when I started running every non-essential purchase through 3 questions before I act on it. First, does this produce anything or does it only consume? Second, does it commit future cash flow I might need back? Third, 30 days from now, will I even remember I bought it? That last question filters out more than you'd think. If you can't answer all 3 clearly, you don't buy it. Not today. This isn't about deprivation. It is about making the decision consciously, instead of letting the default run. Most people build their financial life in the wrong order. They cover fixed costs, spend what feels reasonable, and invest whatever's left over, which is usually nothing. Here is a comparison that makes the problem visible. Person A earns $80,000, spends $75, invests $5. Person B earns $60,000, spends $50, invests $10, 5 years out. Person B has more capital working for them, more options available, and less dependence on their income continuing without interruption. The income gap is $20,000 a year. The outcome gap over a decade is much larger than that. The lifestyle upgrade didn't just cost person a money, it cost them trajectory. The fix is a sequencing change, not a sacrifice. Before you cover anything else, an actual number you've decided in advance. Then build your month around what remains. For most people, that single reordering changes the math meaningfully over time.